Hello everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and today I'm working on day 1 of ByTheWell4God's Pure in Heart Devotional. We're focusing on Matthew 5:8, which says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." And I've done a little bit more of a deeper study into this verse, and I have this quote that I really want to include that I have typewritten out on this envelope from 49 and Market, and that quote is from David Guzik and says, "Ultimately, this intimate relationship with God must become our greatest motivation for purity, greater than a fear of getting caught or a fear of consequences." And so that is what I am studying today. Now, this is a really fun technique. I thought of this while laying in bed one night and realized that I had to remember to try to do this. I have done this collage paper from Holtz on fabric before, and I was thinking, why not try it on Mica Tiles and get this really cool old photo look? So I actually prefer the look of this through the Mica tile, not with the collage paper on top. Like, I like it flipped over. And so there's two ways you can do this. You can put the collage paper facing up towards you when you are slathering on the collage medium and whatnot. And that's going to give you a more muted look once you flip that Mica tile over. Or you can put the photo, the collage photo paper face down towards the Mica tile, and that's obviously going to give you a more vibrant look, and you'll be able to see it a little bit more clearly. So with this house, it is the more muted look, and I struggle with the setup of this page the entire video, and I left a lot of that in because I just struggled with it because I loved this Mica tile so much and I wanted to include it so badly. But ultimately, I don't include it in there. But I wanted to include that process, and I do a little hint of that technique somewhere else on this page so that I could still include it. That was my main focus, was wanting to include that in there, but you'll see that in a little bit. So here I am using that farmhouse ceiling stencil, and I used Crackle Paste. I haven't used Crackle Paste in a little bit, and I really love this stuff. Now, it does make your page a little wonky at first, so you're going to have to just deal with a little bit of a wrinkly page, but I'm okay with that, just because that Crackle Paste kind of like pulls the paper for a little bit. But what I've found is if you spray it, it kind of helps settle it a little bit more. But I am dusting on some embossing glaze from Holtz, so I have peeled paint and antique linen on there, and I'm just going to let it sit there for a second and then knock the rest of it off. Now, with Crackle Paste, the best thing you can do is let it dry as naturally as possible, so I kind of just push that to the side and work on some other things. So I am obviously trying to put this cluster together. So I have this little German flashcard, and what I actually did was I looked up the verse in German and saw what word they were using for see, basically. So blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God, and they use more of a word that means look. But anyways, so I've used that verb, and while I was using my scissors to distress the edges, what actually happened was the flashcard number, because there are 1,000 flashcards in that German flashcard set. So that flashcard number was 666. And I was like, of course. But while I was distressing the edges, my scissors ripped that number like clean off the corner of that card. And so I thought that was just a funny coincidence. So that was pretty cool. But anyways, you'll see me here try to figure out how to include this Mica tile in there. I thought it went well, the house with this comfy chair that I'm looking at. I really liked that. And I have this, this was a freebie, the little paint card that was in the goodie bags from ByTheWell4God. And so I just kind of ripped the verses off, and I'm going to use it as an element in my cluster. But here I am now heat setting that embossing glaze on top of the Crackle Paste. I had given up on trying to figure out my collage for a little bit, or my cluster for a little bit, and so I decided to just move on. And you know, normally I would say to do things all in groups of 3. However, I didn't want to put anything in that middle right-hand space because I was hoping to use this Mica tile. So I have that blank right now, and right here I am adding some Distress Crayon in Ground Espresso. Now it looks a little crazy, but it gets into those cracks and looks so beautiful in the end, like a distressed wallpaper kind of. And I kind of move that Distress Crayon around my page a little bit more to make it look more worn. So I love the end result of this. It doesn't even look like the stencil to begin with, but you can still see hints of that design. And so I am back to this, trying to figure out this cluster. And ultimately, I am just going to move on and say, forget it with the little house on my mica tile. I will use that for something else to come. But I add some more of that crackle paste on that right-hand side, just like I said, with some embossing glaze on top. And here I am heat setting that there. And I will add the Distress Crayon again on top. Now, like I said before, if you can let the crackle paste dry naturally, that's going to give you the best result. It's going to give you the most beautiful cracking kind of look to it. However, when you heat set it right away, basically like I just did, it just doesn't crack as well. It still cracks, but it's just not as fine lined cracks. And so you'll see a little bit of a difference here between these two areas of crackle texture paste. But anyways, I feel complete with this background. I like it. And now I can go back to working on this cluster. Now that I know that I am not going to be adding that house mica tile, it gives me some more room and makes that chair and all this kind of stuff right here more of the focal point. It was a little too much with that house mica tile. It was a little too big. So I take out this smaller piece of mica tile that I have in my stash, and I'm going to use just a little bit of this collage paper that has some handwriting on it. I still wanted it to be muted, so I did put that collage paper facing up towards me, and then when I flip that mica tile over, it will still be that muted kind of look. Now this does mean that that wording is backwards, but I really don't think anyone is going to be staring that hard at the words on this little mica tile. They'll just basically see that it's handwriting and move on to looking at different parts of the page, I hope. I also add a little bit of Distress Crayon around the edges of this collage paper to kind of melt it in a little bit more to the mica tile. And now I need to figure out where I'm going to put this. And I decide eventually to put it in the upper left-hand corner of my little cluster. And that way I have more of a look of a linear line going from the top left-hand corner to the bottom right-hand corner. I did end up taking some of my Tim Holtz snippets out, and I'm adding that to the sides and also with that mica tile to make a mini cluster in the upper left-hand corner. I decided that I'm good with this cluster, and I'm going to take it out and start assembling it outside of my Bible. I find this to be much easier than trying to put it all down one by one in your Bible. This just gives you extra space to move around, and then you can peel it off without ripping Bible pages if you peel it fast enough. So, you can move stuff around easier and find that better placement. So like right here, I forgot that I wanted to add this buffalo check fabric that I had in my stash underneath that German flashcard. And so I'm putting that there after I just ripped it up real quick to make sure I could get that off. And then I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want that little tiny green snippet. Ultimately, I choose to put that up with the mica tile to add some more color up there. And yeah, I'm adding some foam tape to this chair because I felt like it needed to pop off the page just a little bit, especially since I have so much bulk in that little section of the cluster. So that goes right there. And then I will add that little green oval, like I was saying, up there at the cluster. And yeah, we're basically ready to put it down into this page. I also really wanted to include these Bethlehem numbers from ByTheWell4God. These are brand new, and I bought them specifically for the numbers. They also have Christmas stuff on there, but I love these numbers. So I grabbed this index card just because it was the quickest thing to grab on my desk, and I just swiped some pumice stone and frayed burlap on the back. These are distressed numbers, so you're going to see some color through the number. So I've done that, and now I'm going to stamp them in some black VersaFine ink, and I have plans to emboss, so that's why I used that anti-static embossing powder on it as well. So I'm stamping that down and then adding some clear embossing powder on top to give a nice shine. And then I will emboss these numbers and fussy cut them out and add them to the upper left-hand corner. That will give me even more of that diagonal look that I'm going for. So I chose to add 58 because it is Matthew 5:8. I don't know. It was just a fun little nod to the verse. And I will add these behind my cluster before I paste my cluster down with a ton of glue. This is kind of a heavy duty cluster, so I want to make sure I have enough glue on there. And then I'll also add my date stamp to the bottom right-hand corner of this envelope. And I'm so glad that I remembered actually to do that, because this is the first page of this Bible that I'm working in. And I will add a little paper clip to that German flashcard and some glossy accents to that little Curator snippet. And then guys, that is it. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me over on Instagram at Wonderfully Made Handcrafting. If you tried this mica tile and photo collage paper technique, make sure you tag me, especially over on Instagram. I would love to see how it turns out and how you like it. And don't forget to check the links down below in the description. I'll link everything that is still available and all the extra products I used, and those are affiliate links. So thank you so much for using those, and I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.